got to take care of your health. Don't be a statistic, right? Focus on your health, get yourself well, have a good quality of life. Your health is one of those things that you will just not trade it for anything. You won't trade it on the stock market. You won't do anything besides making sure you have it, because without your health, you have nothing.
Folks, welcome back to the High Voltage Business Builders Podcast. Got a cool episode with a cool guy today. We're going to be talking about health and wellness as it applies to you personally and professionally, either through W-2, business activities, franchising, anything you're doing in the world, e-commerce. It doesn't really matter if you don't have your health and wellness. What do you got, right? They say wealth is health, and I really believe that as we get older and get into more situations with life and things that tackle us, stressful things that occur. Sometimes it's diseases, sometimes it's not. It really just depends. We're watching a loved one or someone go through it. God forbid we go through it ourselves in that process. But how can we avoid some of that? How can we stay healthy? How can we stay wealthy in our wellness? I brought a guest on today, Sam, who I think not only understands this, but lives it, acts it, and is driving it in his daily life and the people that are around him. So I'm super honored to bring him on and talk today about health and wellness. As always, the call to action now and at the end of this podcast is to like, comment, share, engage. I don't care if it's a nasty snide remark. Help us with the AI engine. Get this message out to whoever needs to hear it today, because this is one of the more important topics I ever talk about is health and wellness for the life of the entrepreneur. Sam, how'd I do on your intro? Is that okay?
Beautiful. I love it, man.
Let's rock it.
Thanks for having me here, brother. And I'm excited to talk about how people can optimize their health for peak performance.
Right on. We got a good audience here that I think will resonate with this, because if you aren't thinking about health and wellness as a daily activity of your life, what's a great way to just shift and reframe that focus back onto something that I know is going to have a long-term personal impact for you and your family?
Yeah. So one of the most important things that we have to think about when we're talking about health and wellness is you hear so many people talk about longevity, right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
How long we're going to be able to live. Am I going to live until I'm 100, 120, 150? But for me, it's not necessarily about lifespan. It's about health span, making sure that the years that you are on this earth, you're going to be living with good vigor, vitality, and be able to do the things that you love, right? And have good quality of life. So that's where taking care of your health is extremely important. So you have good health span for the years that you're here.
Yeah, it affects us. And I don't think we always take a really, conservative look at it. I know I haven't. It's something I've dealt with my entire life. I talked a little bit about this in the green room before we got here, but it's relevant, I think, to everybody's life somewhere that they battle some component of health and wellness. You may be the most physical fit person in the world, but you can still end up with a disease, a trouble, an ache, a pain, an injury, or something that hurts your health and wellness. If there are a couple things that you would just say, okay, I'm in the process, I'm thinking, I'm listening, what's an action I can take today? What would be a simple couple of steps somebody today could take to get on the right path?
Well, the first step is being aware that you have to do it, right? Acknowledging that health and wellness is important. Second step from there is actually doing something about it, right? I always tell people the first step after awareness is education.
Yeah.
Get yourself to understand what are the things that you can do to understand your own personal health data. What does that consist of? That can be doing some comprehensive blood work, seeing exactly what you're deficient in, also looking at some of your own personal health data through wearables like an Apple Watch, a Fitbit, an Oura Ring. I love to use my Oura Ring here. Right. So you can really understand how your body is functioning day by day.
Yeah. Tracking and data and split testing is one of the things that's helped me dramatically. So I basically had, I'm going to call it a life-changing moment in April. No disease, no diagnosis, no illness in the family or otherwise. It just shocked me. It's just, I woke up one day and I said, stop it. Like, just knock it off. Like, this is enough. You have to change. And thankfully my wife was with me. So we got literally Apple iWatches to track our health, our daily walks, to make sure we get at least 10,000 a day. And we just started walking every day and started tracking the metrics. And it's helped tremendously to kind of see the days we're doing great, the days we're not doing good. We're tracking our water more every day, trying to get past 150 ounces or at least 150 ounces a day in water, and just making tactical decisions every day to start saying no more often. And what I've realized, and you probably already know this, Sam, dealing with the things you've dealt with, and we'll get to all of this, but it's just saying no to a lot of those urges and a lot of those concerns and a lot of those self-deprecating justifications. Like, it's just not going to hurt me this one time. I'll do it again. It's not a big deal. Or just realizing where you struggle in this. Like, I don't struggle with alcohol as a problem for me. I don't struggle with porn addiction as a problem with me. I struggle with food addiction. And like actually really acknowledging that and can just say, you know what, that is a struggle I can't fight. And it is so difficult because it's literally in my house, in my fridge, next to me. It's always around me, is pretty much like being an alcoholic living in an alcohol store, like living in a liquor store. It's like it's all around you with constant temptations. It's just one of those things that you just, I personally just said, okay, enough. And I've been blessed with a wife who said, okay, enough too. And as of this morning, we're down 64 pounds collectively in
Awesome,
the
man.
process. Yeah,
Congrats.
dude. It's just tracking the macros, monitoring the data, just like you said, and just making a conscientious decision every day to say no to things that I know in the long term, if I do a good job. You are very astutely, for someone listening to this, please take what he just said and listen. It's not about the longevity if there's no quality, right? It's not about being 102 if you can't get out of bed. Like that doesn't bring any joy to your life.
And that is, when we're talking about the data, how you said you track your steps and your different movements, your sleep patterns, that creates an accountability component
It does.
for you to be able to do better, right? It's the same way that I have a business, you have a business, right? We've all been involved in some business, regardless if we own it or not.
Yep.
But the only way to make sure you have a healthy business and it's scaling in the right direction, right, is by having good data, having a lot of different reports, retention reports, new client acquisition, lead costs, lead acquisition costs. Like you want to know exactly that data so you're not burning your money in the wrong way, et cetera. So same thing with your health. Like you want to have that data. You want to know if things are changing in your body. And one of the things you mentioned earlier about people have these moments that kind of like spark that light bulb where then they have to actually pay attention to their health. My goal is to get people to acknowledge the importance of their health before it actually becomes a problem, because then at that
Yep.
point, it becomes more reactive than proactive, right?
Yeah, that's
So,
100%. And then it's easier to become a victim with excuses. And as I'm not a victim of excuses,
right.
became very hypocritical for me to be talking one direction and acting another. So it's like, well, if I'm going to lead my family, show this, do this, and be this person, then I actually have to act in this way.
Right.
And there's one area in my life where I'm failing at that big. And I don't want my daughters to fall into that, and neither did my wife. So we're just like, okay, we need to go. And it turns out we need to lose about the same amount of weight. So we need to go about the same amount of distance. And it was just good parallel between us coming together and just saying no more, and then holding each other accountable. That's huge. In the end, tracking data and an accountability partner. And it's just been wonderful. I hope people would listen and just take that. Don't do it after the disease, just like you said. At that point, man, you're totally in reactionary mode.
Yeah, you don't want to be reactive. And this is the thing too, for those listeners that think that, oh, once it's a problem, then I'll start focusing on it.
Yeah.
Disease hides very well. I mean, how many times have you heard of a friend or family member, all of a sudden they get diagnosed with cancer, right? And it's stage 4 cancer.
Right.
My question all the time is, well, what the heck happened at stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3?
No one had their hands on the wheel.
Very well. Yeah.
I have the same questions, and it in a no judgment zone in which I know you live. It's just, why did you not see that? And my own answer to that problem was, I think I simply just didn't want to. Like I simply did not want to look at it. If I had to look at it, I had to face it. I had to do something with it. And I was more happy just letting that kind of hide in the background.
Right.
And now that I look at that guy and I'm like, well, that's dumb. That is just dumb. Like, stop it. Really just stop it. And it takes a lot to do that. Have you ever had that moment in your life? Have you had other?
Oh, yeah. Hey, listen, I don't think I'll ever stop having those type of moments. And that's, people like us tend to take those type of events and grow off of it, right?
Yeah.
You learn from it and you develop into a bigger and better person at that point.
You try to keep moving forward. That's what we teach our
Right.
children. What we're trying to show them is stop looking back. Anything you did in the past is an excuse for things you can literally change if you choose to do so. And it just became more of a servant leadership and of the role of parents that we wanted to take on. We take it in the schooling when we homeschool our children. We take it in the way we work in our garden and are out doing the work necessary to keep things nice and put the work in. We just really got lazy on the food. I mean, that's the word, right? Lazy.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, sometimes we seek comfort food, right? Which
Oh, yeah,
comfort
dude.
food sometimes it's not the healthiest thing that's out there.
That's
No.
a sucker for a burger and a piece of pizza. But now that I watch my carbs, they're like the last thing that I want. Like, I want to balance that fat and I want to get all my protein in now. And so I've actually my wife and I have almost gamified this a little bit. to kind of make it fun as we track it and compete with each other.
That's
And because
awesome.
I have to be here and I don't always get to move as fast as she does around the house and the property, she's beating me on steps like every day. It's a rare occasion I can outbeat her on steps. But we always like, what'd you get for steps today? And I'm like, 3,000 steps shorter than you. Like,
They have one of those little treadmills
I
that you
just,
can put at your desk.
okay,
Get
okay,
on
okay.
Zoom calls
Hey,
with
be
people, and
fair.
they're there. They're just like moving in the Zoom call. I'm like,
I
what's going
thought we
on?
were in a no judgment zone here, brother, but now you're like hitting me in the feels. I know this could be a standing desk with a treadmill. Thanks a lot. Now I'm going to have to go do that. But no, it's really what it gets down to, right? We were actually talking about that today because it's nice here. We get up in the morning really early before it gets way too hot because it's like 94 and humid outside, and that's no fun, right? What are we going to do in the winter? Like, we're facing a new event since we've been doing this in April, and this is in July at the time we're recording this. By the time we get through August, September, and October out here in the Midwest, it's going to get cold. Like, it's going to
Right.
be harder to get out. And we were like, well, do we go to the Y? Do we do this thing? Or like, that doesn't fit our lifestyle. That doesn't fit like what we're doing. That doesn't fit a natural rhythm. It's going to be disruptive if we can figure out how to get it in flow with what we're already doing. It won't be as disruptive. And I think people who are not living in the country like we are, or maybe in a city and trying to get to a gym or not trying to make it across town to get to this activity or that activity they're making some of it more complicated, maybe a little more difficult.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And one of the things out of our wellness clinics that we have throughout the US that we always tell our clients, our patients, is don't think about it as exercise, especially if you're just making this whole switch into being more proactive about your health and wellness. Think about consistent movement.
That's right.
And one of the things I tell people, it's like, if you like to garden, go out and garden for 20 to 30 minutes consistently where you
Right.
have the consistent movement and
Right.
just start moving your body. We were talking about the steps earlier.
Yep.
It's actually statistically proven that if you put in at least 10,000 steps a day, you don't even have to go to the gym.
No, because technically you're going to run a marathon. I did the math on this the other day because someone had brought this up. I think it was on X, and I'm like, that can't be right. So I sit down and I was penciling and I'm like, holy crap, like that's 70 marathons in a year if you walk 10,000 steps a day. So
Right.
you just have to walk. Like,
Right.
I'm thinking I got to run. I need to get a physical exercise. And of course,
Yeah.
with tonality coming a little more, but I'm also living on a farm with a tractor and firewood and a whole lot of work that I do outside to
Nice.
get my physical strength from every activity. Try moving a tractor tire. It's pretty heavy.
Yeah.
So the end of that is I know I'm getting my physical tonality in the effort if I just keep moving, going and doing the things around the property. I don't have to necessarily go pound metal in a gym to do that. But it really just got down to daily, 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 daily. And it's like, wow, daily, I can run a marathon by walking it. I can run 70 of them in a whole
You
year.
can. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's all yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things that people have to understand also is where is your fat burning zone? Like, I'll tell you a story. I used
Right.
to go out on my mountain bike and I used to just go ham. I used to go ham on that mountain bike,
In our 20s.
and I just wanted to be sweating and just
Yeah, yeah.
going. And I was actually trying to lean up at that point in time, and I wasn't burning the fat that I wanted to burn. And my
Right.
heart rate was all the way jacked up. And one of my buddies, who's my personal trainer as well, I told him, I says, dude, I'm hitting it so hard and I'm not shredding the fat. He says, dude, because you hitting it hard like that, it's good cardiovascular exercise, but you're not hitting your fat burning zone. He says,
Yeah.
start just going out for a cruise on your bike, right? Don't think about going hard. Give it about a few weeks and you'll see the difference. And no lie, I ended up leaning up, just cruising on my mountain bike versus actually going hard.
Isn't that fascinating? I love hearing you say that because that's something that I have had to learn. Being a guy in my 20s who lived in Oregon and then lived in Colorado because it was mountain biking country of the world and riding up
Yeah.
and down Max at Pikes Peak, which is what Katie and I used to do. And I absolutely love it for exercise and physical exercise. And then did the 40-mile inclusion camping trips and stuff when we were in Oklahoma. But I never really got that thin. And all that effort, I'm like, how? And here's the other ironic part is like, you see all these guys riding like 50 and 100 miles and they're not Lance Armstrong. They got like beer bellies. And I'm like, they're putting on 50, 100 miles at a time. And you're like, how is that even possible? Why are they not 125 pounds of pure muscle? They're not in their macros. They're not in their zone. They're not in their burn. I
Right.
finally discovered since April that mine is about 115 to 125. And as long as I stay in that zone of good activity during my walk, which means I can't walk slow, I got to walk at enough pace to really
Right.
burn it and stay there at 20 minutes, I'm in my burning zone. Now, that may not be yours or some other person's. And for a 6'5" guy, I think that's kind of pathetic. I think I need to be like 130 to 160. But for me, that's a run. And at 48 with bad knees, that's not really good for a guy like me to run. It's better to walk. It's lower impact and I can go farther. So I started putting on 20-pound packs when we walk our 3 or 4
Oh,
miles.
no.
Man, that puts on a whole lot more effort.
It does. It does. Well, one of the things you mentioned is the micros and macros. Going back to understand your body's data, like one of the things that we do out of our wellness center, when we put people through what we call the Vita journey, so they can understand their body and we can customize health and wellness programs for them, is we do a test that's called the RMR, which stands for resting metabolic rate. So you're basically on a fasted stomach. And then for about 15 to 20 minutes, you're sitting in a chair with a mouthpiece, breathing in and out. And what that's doing, it's calculating how many calories you're burning at a rested state.
Yeah.
So what do I get out of that data? Now I can actually calculate how many micros and macros you need to intake throughout your day as you eat. Alongside with that, when I see how many calories you're burning at a rested state, I could tell you if you're working out, if you're overworking out, or if you're not even working out. So that's part of the importance of that data. Alongside with the RMR, we do another test that's called the VO2 max. People probably have seen this test. You're on a stationary bike with resistance, with a mask over your face connected to a computer, and then on an EKG. And what we're doing is we're looking at cardiovascular health, lung health, and then cellular health, primarily your mitochondrial health. So that data, which you probably see a lot of athletes, if you've ever seen this on TV or something, do that test. It calculates your endurance and where you need to be, where you need to be for fat burning zone. So that's where data is extremely crucial for you to figure that out. So whatever exercise routines you're doing or any kind of activity, you do it the right way so you can get the ultimate results that you're looking for.
That is fantastic. Do you do any blood work in that? In terms of testing too, is that one of the tests you might do for like sensitivities, food issues?
Absolutely. So the blood work we do is not like your typical general practitioner. Blood work we do is anywhere between 29 to up to 80 pages long, right? Depending which program you sign up for. So the blood work we do is a very comprehensive blood analysis. We're looking at hormone deficiencies. We're looking at micronutrients deficiencies, meaning we're looking at vitamins, minerals, amino acids, fatty acids that your body utilizes for it to function. It's part of your body's biochemistry. We're looking at food sensitivities. We're looking at environmental toxins you can potentially get exposed to, like heavy metals or other toxins that can be in your foods or an environment, which if you have toxins in your body, it can slow your body down and cause all kinds of diseases to develop. So we're looking, when we do this blood work, I mean, we're looking at things that most doctors wouldn't check unless you're symptomatic. For us,
and that's the worst time. Again, back to that victim. Now we're dealing with a condition we could have possibly slowed down.
Exactly.
The word cure, that's not how this works. And this is just for shits and giggles, let's call it, and take everything with a grain of salt, YouTube. But it is down to understanding what you are toxified to some degree in your body and the different minerals, eggs, anything you might have some allergic. We did that a few years ago. We did it for the girls too. And I can tell you it's extremely powerful is to understand what things you can and cannot eat or what levels of sensitivity you have. It's been very impactful for my girls, especially one of them who's very sensitive to a lot of stuff. And she is going on 14 and $1.09. So we're like constantly getting her protein up and feeding her, but the kid has like an all day eating metabolism and just won't put on the extra pounds. And so part of that is having to learn what she is sensitive to and what she can eat more of. And by removing some of that stuff, it has really helped her dramatically in the things we've dealt with in the past. I can just firsthand say from my own experience, go meet with Sam, get the blood test, find out where you are. If you find out that eggs are not your thing, you got to get rid of the eggs. Maybe we got to duck eggs because the girls couldn't tolerate chicken eggs. So we have all these chickens, dude, on this homestead. And we're like, now what? Well, now we got to go get ducks. We have to sell the chicken eggs so they pay for the ducks and the feed and stuff. It's kind of a symbiotic relationship that they're together. But the girls can actually eat duck eggs, and that goes into now their diet for everything they have. And it's really helped to kind of split test their bodies and find out who has what sensitivities and that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's been very powerful for my wife as she deals with lupus as an autoimmune disease, which is a hereditary thing for her, but she's been able to manage it much, much better through the diet, well, walking. And of course, the losing weight and everything for the future is just going to make it a lot easier for her in the long term, as that disease is hereditary. So she'll just deal with that as she gets older, but to try to manage as much as we can through diet, exercise, and like, so we're looking to her future. She's only 41, so we're not, in my mind, behind in the 8 ball for helping her out in the later parts of her life. Sam, you guys do everything literally for wellness clinics. You have supplements and food and other things that you incorporate into this whole product base.
When it comes to health and wellness, it's not one thing. It's a mixture of many different things that you have to do for your lifestyle.
Yeah.
So lifestyle change is going to be the most important part, making sure that you're not exposing yourself to different toxins, making sure you're getting good sleep. Depending what you do for a living also makes a difference. Like I'm a retired fireman for 12 years. There was a lot of sleep deprivation, which that messes up your cortisol levels, causes all kinds of issues hormonally inside of your body, a lot of weight gain. So we dealt with police officers that were on the SWAT team going to the shooting range every single week, high levels of lead, believe it or not, from going in there, shooting the guns and breathing in the lead. So lifestyle is going to be extremely important, adjusting those things, making sure that you're eating healthy. This is not like going back 20 years ago where eating healthy was such a big project. You go to the grocery store, things are readily available there.
Very different for people like us who've been in this game for 20 plus years. When we started pulling out stuff and dealing with this 20 years ago with our kids and family and my wife specifically, we were the cookie dukes who had the idea that gluten wasn't good for you. And we're going to be eating soy, and we should be getting back on dairy, and we should be cutting back on sugars, and we should be, managing these things as a part of our diet, which ironically you would think would not have led to weight gain. But when you start to look and cook and deal with certain fats and oils and things like coconut oil or avocado oil, and you use them as a predominant part of your diet, et cetera, what you'll find is that it's such good food when cooked correctly. Because now I think it was like a master chef, right? She's got the big Viking, big 5-burner stove, cooks all the time. And she's got all the different flours she's tested and everything. And she's so good at it that everything tastes really good. Eat too much of it. So really, and we got our macros down. We actually discovered we were eating too much of the good stuff. So it really got down to, you could do the opposite with even the good stuff. Even if you're not eating Twinkies and McDonald's every day, you can eat too much of anything and go the wrong way, even with the good stuff that should be better for you in the long run. And that's one of the things we've learned about balancing it out. So there's just something for everybody, really, what you're saying today to me and those who are listening and hopefully taking to heart the proactiveness of finding a next step. Don't wait, please, like Sam said, to react to something negative in your life and make it so much more difficult, and don't just run straight to anything that is worldly in its solutions. I'm just going to say that in its big grandiose statement, and give Sam a chance. Go in, talk to them, go to one of their clinics, get on their wellness path, take the blood test, find out where you are, see what you can proactively change. And for the love of all that is good, walk more and drink some more water if that's all you do anywhere, right? Anything else you want to add to that?
The biggest thing is you got to take care of your health. Don't be a statistic, right? Focus on your health, get yourself well, have a good quality of life. Your health is one of those things that you will just not trade it for anything. You won't trade it on the stock market. You won't do anything besides making sure you have it, because without your health, honestly, you have nothing.
Well, this has been good, man. I hope people are listening to you. I definitely want to have you back again and talk more about what you're doing. For those who want to go check it out, we'll put it in the show notes and everything, the services and the products and the wellness clinics and everything you do. Where can they figure all that out? Where can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, and we do telemedicine, and they can find us on liquivita.com. That's LIQUI, V as in Victor, I, D as in Delta, A, Liquivita. Okay. And if you want to find more about me, you could go to my Instagram page. That's Sammy_Tejada, just how it's listed here. Or you could just Google me, type in Sam Tejada and see what pops up.
Yeah, guys, please go do that. Check it out in the show notes. Go see what's going on. So in terms of your own struggles and wellness, what led you to Liquivita? What does even the name mean? Is there a specific meaning? Is it how does it combine?
So Liquivita was actually put together. We started with IV nutrition, where you get your vitamins, minerals, and amino acids directly into your bloodstream. So what I wanted to come up with was with a name that had the actual IV in it, right? So Liquivita has the IV right in the middle of it.
There you go.
And it stands for Liquid IV Vitamins for Life.
There you go. Okay.
What led me to it was, again, I started the company 6 years into the fire department, just as a side hustle. Most firefighters, we work 24 hours on, we're off for 48 hours. So we all typically have a side hustle on our days off to supplement our income. So this was something that I just wanted to kind of do on the side by myself. I was a one-man show, started it with $500 in my back pocket. And it just started growing legs and scaling. Fast forward a little bit over 10 years later, we're a multi-million-dollar company nationwide, selling franchises all throughout the US. I'm on the pharmacy side. We created a proprietary product for IV vitamin therapy, and we have over 4,000 doctors nationwide purchasing our products.
Fantastic. What a cool story. Now, how many people are in your enterprise now?
Right now, we're a little bit over 450.
Excellent. So a firefighter turning into a 450 person business. That probably wasn't the easiest effort.
It wasn't, and it's growing. We're at that number now. We've sold 37 locations, a little bit more than half are open. So we're looking probably within a year to have double that amount.
That is amazing. And as a franchise, obviously you get the full support and services of your enterprise and stuff like that. Is there a base, a bottom, a mid-tier enterprise, or a multi-territory purchasing thing you do? Or is it?
Yeah, well, we have all kinds of different options. If anyone's interested, we could definitely share that information with them once they reach out.
Yeah, for sure. Let's do that in the show notes and stuff so people can take a look. Maybe there's some enterprising entrepreneurs listening to this that might want to know where the clinic at, because it's big and it's changing very fast as medicine, telehealth, medicine, post. What do we even call that weird 4 years that we're in? I don't even know what to call it. I don't want to say it out loud, but there's an awakening of people's understanding now. That's
post-COVID. That's what really happened.
You said it, not me.
Yeah.
So in the weirdness of things, people are starting to see the impacts of other alternatives. And it's been a long road of understanding why wheat in our environment and production facilities isn't really the best thing for you in the way that it's processed, and why there are good alternatives, and what these things do to your body if you're willing to listen to it and take action. It could definitely change what you're doing in your life, and certainly the healthiness of your life. I would prefer to die a very healthy, strong 85-year-old and go out with a heart attack in my sleep than to be dying and suffering at 102 with a terrible medical condition.
I agree. 100%.
That's mine. I'm gonna go out fighting. That's basically all that. Dude, is there any question I didn't ask you about, or any topic we didn't cover that you wanted to get out?
No, I think for the most part we covered, get a good basis of exactly what we do with Liquivita. But the one thing that people have to always remember is that you feeling tired, feeling fatigued, or having certain aches and pains throughout your body as you age is not normal. It's not part of the aging process. We've came to our own conclusion where what we end up saying is, oh, I'm just getting old. This is part of the aging process. It's not, right?
Yeah.
You have to take that proactive approach to your health, and those things can be changed very quickly.
Very well said. Now, if I were to ask you to say who you might want to connect with, because the phrase I like to say is it's who you know that gets you there and what you know that keeps you there. So if there's somebody through a network or connection, preferably alive, because it'll be a little easier to connect you with, that you'd want to speak to, have 15 minutes with, somebody we might tag in the notes down on the social media, who would that be? Is it somebody?
Honestly, I'd love to connect with either Dwayne Johnson or Kevin Hart and have them help me spread the word when it comes to health and wellness. Kevin Hart, Dwayne Johnson, these guys are great energy, very smart guys. They touch a lot of people throughout the world with their message. And if I can get them on board to help spread the message on health and wellness, that would be fantastic.
Well, never say never. We're always within 6 degrees of separation, as they say, right? So it's
true.
very possible that they may be listening to this podcast. Thanks, guys. Appreciate that very much. Or maybe you're not. That's okay. Maybe somebody is. And maybe you guys need to connect with Sam. That'd be amazing. Dude, thank you so much for coming in, dropping some bombs, and just having a great conversation with me today.
Awesome, man. It was a pleasure. Thank you.